Welcome back into the Philadelphia Flyers post-game show. Big win for the Flyers today, Shutey. This is actually the first time we've been able to do this after a game this year.
It is.
One of the things that we were actually just talking about, we'll start with this, 57 shots on goal for the Flyers. Louis Felix St. John for the Okanagan Eagles faced 57, well, technically 56, I guess it would be, and stopped with 51 of them. That's insane for a goaltender at any level. Talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, this kid, what we saw for 2 days, absolute phenomenal goaltender, and he just does whatever it takes to block a puck from getting behind him. I mean, the closest thing that I can compare him to, as I've spoken to you about, is Dominic Hasek.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this kid, I don't want to take this away from him, but he is not what I would call fundamentally sound.
No,
I mean,
he's a sprawler.
He's a breakaway. He ends up down on his butt and somehow just finds a piece of equipment to keep it from going out of the net. And then the save yesterday that I really recall was him having to go side to side, and he just threw his body, boom. Like, it was, this kid is just unreal, and solid goaltending effort, as we said, 51 saves today. Absolutely incredible effort by St. John in net for the Okanagan Eagles.
Yeah, most goaltenders don't face 51 total shots in a game, but to stop 51 shots and face even more is without a doubt insane. We just talked with Vadim Vazyankin, and we were talking about it off air. That line, Nardicchio, Bibb, and Vazyankin, let's just say it, firing on all cylinders.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and it's all of them chipping in. They're all scoring goals. They're all helping each other out. And there's a ton of times where we're filling up the blocks. It's 11, 21, 15, or 15, 11, 21, or any combination you can think of it. Go play them in the lottery, folks. I'm giving you right now. I don't even know. It's a pick six. Take your pick six. There's going to be a lot of ones in there, so it's going to be a big payoff if you do hit. So take that for your pick six. 11, 15, 21.
Without a doubt. Talk about the resiliency in this team. This was one of the, I hate to put it this way, but this was the one weekend I can think of throughout all the games we've seen so far. This team was down in both games, and they were down multiple times in this game. They actually were resilient. They really put the foot on the gas and fought hard to come back in this game.
Yeah, they sure did, and again, we've seen a lot of grit and determination from a lot of players. Again, we'll focus on something we brought up during the intermission show about a play that Tom Taranova made right in the corner where the Okanagan defender was doing whatever he could to stop him from getting to the puck, but guess what? It just wasn't enough because Tom just kept moving his legs and getting better body position to get around the defender. And if all the guys are going to continue to keep making plays like this, you're going to see more positive things from this Flyers club going into the last 9 games.
Not to leave out the assists, some of the assists in this game. It was the one thing I can remember in this game. There's actually 2. The one I can remember is the Flyers goal scored by Tristan Ramage. He started that whole play. He went from his blue line, fought his way into the corner, left the puck there for Nardicchio. Nardicchio got it back out to him, and he tipped it in front. And then the other one that I can think of is Mario Trepe on that shorthanded goal was able to fight his way through and leave that puck for Richie Greenberg. This is a team that this weekend really, the assists were just as big as the goals because there were a lot of good assists this weekend.
Right, and it usually does work out that way. Like you always tell, when you tell the little kids, an assist is as good as a goal because without the assist, there is no goal. Mm-hmm. And there's one more assist that you might have left out that I thought was a pretty play. And I'm going to say this. With my standout stars, I'm a day late, a dollar short, or it's a complete swing and a miss. So my buddy Jeff Epbrich decided he was going to chip in today, not yesterday, and he made a magnificent pass to Connor Tierney to bury that puck for the second goal of the game. So yeah, the assists are coming from all over the place, and even though we are frequently going back to the Vazyankin, Bibb, and Nardicchio line, everybody is contributing. You got Ramage coming in from the point, crashing the net on the power play. Greenberg's putting in the shorty for the game winner, and this was just a great weekend of hockey for the Flyers.
It really was. That was actually, you kind of just mentioned it. One of the things that I mentioned in the third period was you have a tendency to have games where there's a name or two or maybe even a whole line that you don't say the name throughout the game. I think I said everybody's name. Everyone on this line chart, I think I said their name at least 2 or 3 times in this game, and that's when you know a team is really working together and everyone's chipping in.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's go back to Matt Beck. He had a good game today overall.
Yeah, he really
as far as what the board was saying, as far as shots and his saves, weren't looking very good in the first 2 periods. But then the most shots that he saw in a period was 13 shots in the third, and he saved every single one of them, and he really settled down. And he was a huge contributor to both wins this weekend as well. So let's not forget the goaltending, even though there was quite a bit of goals scored combined in the 2 games.
He really was. You cannot forget that back end for sure. Shutey, one final question for you. What do you want to see? Big weekend coming up against the rival Jersey Hitmen up in North Jersey this weekend. This team is now, we're going to talk about it a lot coming up. This team is 4 points out of that potential to host that play-in game. And one of the things I said on the broadcast was this team has traveled so much, I'm sure they would love to stay home for that. What do you want to see this team do next week, and then the game after that up against the Powell Junior Islanders before they come home? What do you want to see over the next 3 or 4 games?
Well, as far as what they need to do to get that home game, it's dire straits now. I mean, they have to figure out a way to go into Jersey, and they have to come up with 3 points. 3-point minimum.
Yeah.
If not, you got to take all 4. It's just getting to that point of the year. And even with some subtractions from this team of guys that we think a lot of, they didn't miss anything from what I saw this weekend. And again, the competition we saw in this series, if you didn't tell anybody that this was 9 versus 10 in this division, nobody would have any clue. It looked like the Dunedin Cup was on the line every shift.
It really did. One other thing that actually just came to mind, there's a name not on this line chart we talked about a lot this year. He's not on it, and they pulled out 4 points this weekend. That's kind of mind-blowing to me.
Yes.
To think that the Flyers did such a great job this weekend. They really did. And Shutey, we'll see you in a couple weeks. That game on February 8th could be huge.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it.
I really am too. Unfortunately, it's not going to be one of those games where it's the deciding factor. That would be even cooler. But we will be back on February 8th against the Jersey Hitmen. So some big games coming up against that rival team. You can catch that game on Hockey TV when we come back here on the 8th. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you then.